G'day, I'm Alister Christie from LearnDelphi.tv, and I am Skyping with Marco Cantù from Embarcadero.
Hi, I'm Marco.
G'day.
I'm from Italy, locked down in my house, as most of the people around here.
Yeah, Italy's been hit pretty bad. With
Italy's been hit badly, and my city particularly badly. That's what it is. But good, I'm working from home. That's for the last 6 years, so I'll be affected. I think I need a haircut badly. I mean, it's been months, 4 months, whatever.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm fine. So and my family is fine. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, we're pretty good here in New Zealand as well. We're I don't know, down to only 5 to 10 new cases a day at the moment. Possibly unless I haven't checked what today's stats were. So we've been locked down for quite some time now. So yeah. So what's your role at Embarcadero?
I'm one of the product managers on the RAS Studio team. We are a team of 3 people, myself, David Millington, and Sarina DuPont. And we kind of split responsibility. So I'm more focused on Delphi itself. So if you want, I can say I'm the Delphi product manager, but whatever. The product is a single product with multiple things. So I mostly look after the Delphi language and runtime library, the VCL and FireMonkey, and then anything that is database / web, HTTP, multi-tier, whatever. But like most of the IDE, which is shared, beside all of the C++ specific things, are more on David.
Okay, yeah. I noticed you've got a stack of books there in the background.
Some of the old books, some of the old boxes, whatever. I had a large pile of things there when we did the 25th anniversary thing. Now I put a lot back in my shelves, but some have been lingering over. So
okay. So you've written quite a few books over the years on Delphi.
20 plus. I'm not 100% sure of the count, but it's over 20.
That's quite a few. Yeah. I've probably read probably all of them. I'm not sure. Well, certainly the Delphi 2005 book you've got in the background, and the Delphi 7 version of that, and probably some of the earlier ones as well. But I'm not sure. And of course your Delphi handbooks. So one of the things I was wanting to talk to you today was about publishing, because I've almost finished my first book, and trying to work out the best strategy for getting that published, to try and keep the price of it low and still maximize my sort of return on it.
Yep.
So to speak.
Yeah, I mean, in the early days, there was really no alternative to use one of the traditional publishers because it was a different world. I mean, bookshelves and bookshelf space mattered a lot. I remember there was a time where the book had to be thick because thick books would have been. I mean, if the book thickness was about half of the cover, then when the bookstore had 2 copies, they could flip it and have it cover up. And that increased your chance of selling compared to the spine because the cover is more visible. And they had studies that the first book you start browsing has like a 20% extra chance of being the book you buy, even if there's like 5 books on the same exact subject, because you put more time on the first one, and then you get the second, and you get the third, and then you get bored and you grab one. So, but again, this is a world that doesn't exist, that hasn't existed for quite some time. When they started shifting to online and shipping, then all of a sudden, a big book is a thick book, is a heavy book, it costs more to ship. No, we don't want them. We want them small and thin books because of that. So whatever. But I mean, I've been using traditional publishers. It's been a good experience. I mean, I'm honestly made some good money back then. But today, I mean, I keep receiving offers like regularly. But honestly, because of the numbers that have become much lower, throughout the industry, it's not a Delphi specific issue. And because of the model that the publisher have, which is kind of still old-fashioned, they try to use the old-fashioned model because that's where they make a good amount of money after all. I honestly don't see a big reason to use one of the traditional publishers for my projects. Also because having gone through the process, I like the freedom of, having the chapters the size I want, having the book tone I want, and at times even having the cover I want rather than something that the publisher imposes you. So what I've done over the last 10 or more years is doing self-publishing, using a couple of different, three alternative providers, but in all cases that's been my approach, and I've been very happy with it. It's been nicer and being a smoother process, and honestly I think I haven't done like a detailed calculation, but I think it's been more successful economically than other options. So, but that's probably modified by the fact that I'm a known author. So if I publish something and spread the word, it gets out. So of course, if you're not a known author, if you don't have any outreach on social media or the Delphi community or whatever, then a regular publisher can certainly help in that respect, because they will put some marketing dollars, they will have good connection, they will spread out. So there isn't like a one size fit all. It depends on what you're looking for, what's your goal. If the goal is becoming popular, if the goal is making money, which are two quite different goals for book writing, and they're both understandable. But so I don't know. I don't care about getting known at this point. I'm getting some extra money if I'm putting time and effort. Fine. Although again, at times I'm fine. I mean, I'm just writing stuff today that I plan just releasing for free and not even publishing. So whatever. I mean, I have another regular job, so I don't strictly need the thing. But for example, for the Delphi, for the language handbook, the Object Pascal handbook, that I plan to update once we get a new release with a couple of new language features. And that's been fairly successful. Also economically, it's been on Amazon and on other outlets for some time. Every month I sell not a large number of copies, but given the percentage of money that remains in your pocket is fairly high. It's really reasonable. I mean, every month you get some cash, fine, you use it, you go out for a couple of dinners with the entire family, and but again, this is after like 3 years of the last published version, so not a lot of money, but it's really the long tail of something that was published quite some time ago. So
so the sort of long tail is interesting. So I've got my videos that I did originally recorded them at Delphi XC3. Okay. They still sort of on the VCL and client data sets and generics and various other bits and pieces. And they tick over. Don't sell huge numbers. But sell a few on Udemy and Embarcadero Academy.
Sure. Well, I mean, every year I still get a little royalty from Wiley for the Delphi 2006 book. I mean, the Mastering Delphi 2006. And it's like $15, $20. But hey, I mean, that's a 15 years old thing, and there's still some copies floating around. Occasionally, they adjust some counts. They do. I don't know. I get a little bit of money, lots of paper, whatever, and so that's really.
I bet the accounting for that costs more than the actual money you get.
Oh, sure. Yeah. From another, not from Wiley, but from another publisher. Some time ago, I think I got a less than $1 payment, and that also included like tax reports and like lots of paper for, I was like 80 cents or something. It's fine. I mean, yeah, that happens, but it's fine. But yeah, I mean, it depends on the model. Now, the good thing is that I mean, there are two interesting things I've seen in the self-publishing world. One is originally it was self-publishing with a few options, but then the distribution was really what was problematic, was the big deal, because these companies were self-publishing, but then their distribution was limited. So, and honestly, I never had like the time, effort, focus of buying the books, reselling the books, I mean, shipping them around. So it was good at the very beginning, but only to some extent. Now that there is one distribution for book, it's called Amazon. Yeah,
pretty much.
That changed things quite a bit. And honestly, there are a few self-publishing options out there, but having used the Amazon one, it's a good experience. So yeah, there are issues, there are problems, but they are one of the cheapest in terms of the amount of money they take from you. I mean, for the book overall, and they're, I mean, they just do automatic. I mean, basically, you order on Amazon. They do create. If the book moves, they do have a little stock. So they are. I mean, like they have some in Europe, although they actually started printing in Europe right now. But they have started like in locals, a few copies in local stores. If the book keeps moving, but then they can just issue the demand request, print a demand request, and within days they get to the person buying. So it's quite impressive. But the other thing is, and if you, I mean, there are other options. I mean, I've used Lulu in the early days, one of the first few ones. I've looked into others. Again, beside the distribution side, there are two things that are relevant. One is the percentage they take, and they vary. I mean, they're not all the same. But the other thing is the raw cost for printing. So I remember that when I was comparing different options, some that had the best, I mean, the lowest percentage, it's only 5% of markup on the price and so forth. But then the printing cost was like twice as much. So if you're selling the books at, I don't know, $30 and you have a $12 printing cost, well, yeah, the margin really goes down, even if they give you a good percentage. If the same book costs $5 to print rather than 12, wow, it's a different story. Even if it's a larger percentage, you're still much better off. And the other thing is that if you also order books yourself for like to give away, to give to your friends, to keep, I mean, whatever, then you pay the printing cost, which can be really, really low. So a low printing cost also helps you like create a small stock and keep around whenever we get back to have conferences and events. I mean, taking them with you, sending to people you want to have a copy. I mean, again, that makes a difference, because printing costs can really be like twice, I mean, one from the other, depending on the publisher, and also where they are printed. So the few large print-on-demand systems have ability to print in different continents. They can print in the US, they can print in Australia, they can print in Europe. So that cuts on the shipping cost afterwards. A few of them have one printing location, and that's become, printing is cheap, but then I pay like $50 for shipping the two books to me, and and also the time, because you need. I mean, often when you're finalizing the book, you need to get more than one copy. Because I mean, even if it looks great on PDF, when it's on paper, it's on paper. So you need to get a print, you need to get a copy, you need to test it, you need to make changes, and then repeat the cycle 2 or 3 times. If you have like 2-week shipping, then it's 2 months. If you have 2-day shipping, then you can, in a week, you can go back and forth and finish your work. So yeah, all of these things make a difference. But honestly, I've been happy, and yeah, I used CreateSpace that was later bought by Amazon and folded into the Amazon Kindle
Kindle Direct Publishing KDP. Yeah,
that thing. I mean, they made some mess unifying the thing, but honestly, it's fine. I mean, they went through some hoops when they unified the two platforms a couple of years back. But it's a good service, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning towards, and trying to work out what's the best pricing, because you get 70% of the royalties if it's between $3 and $10. Otherwise, it's 35%, which is interesting.
Yeah. No, it's a complex, and I haven't actually done the Kindle specifically. I mean, the electronic publishing myself, because of I use the formatting style in my Pascal handbook that doesn't really convert nicely to Kindle because of the way it uses footnotes and other things. So technically, it has hiccups. So now the first time I do a review, I'll do a review in a way that is more compatible. So I'll consider that. But for now, yeah, because of formatting issues, I didn't like how it was looking, and whatever. I decided to scrap it.
Yeah, no, I tried importing into the Kindle Create application. So I've written it in Google Docs because it allows for pretty good collaboration for editing and what have you. I saved as a Word document, tried importing it to Kindle Create, and it failed. So
oh yeah.
So I'm now going to start chopping the book into parts to see what it's failing on. So yeah, it's not, it's I think currently 140 A4 pages, so it's not enormous.
Sure. Yeah, the entire process is, I've seen people, Nick Hodges, for example, doing a lot of online typesetting and publishing to get the advantage of editing with multiple people. I use Google Docs a ton on work. I don't know, anything over 50 pages tends to be like really messy, and then the formatting for the images and even some of the text formatting, I find it a little too hard. So I'm still doing most of my books related work in LibreOffice or OpenOffice, whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's a good balance. Well, it's free, so anyone can get it if you need to do editing. It has decent editor tracking. I mean, like Word has. I originally picked it over Word because the image formatting was superior, but I'm talking about like many years ago when I started self-publishing. I guess Word has caught up by now, but I don't know. I don't care that much. I have a license, that's not a problem. But again, when you want to get it to other people and do some co-editing, it's important that they are on the same version, because otherwise when you open save, then the formatting goes bonkers easily. So in this way, because it's open source, the engine is open source, you can ask, hey, use this version, it's the latest, and make sure you don't mess up with the file format or anything. That gives some flexibility compared to, I have Word, but it's the old version, it's the other format, it's okay. No, I mean, for a standard document, it works, but I spend a lot of time with formatting, doing fine tuning, making things look good, things from balance, even up to the point of balancing things, avoiding orphan lines and words and whatever. That's Indeed. Mostly manual at the end of the day. So again, trying to do this with, you need a good tool. You need something that whenever you open it, the pages are always the same place and the images are the same place and nothing like moves around randomly, which I've seen way too much.
Google Docs has done that on me a couple of times.
Yeah.
Particularly in the source code. So I've used a tool called Code Blocks or something like that, which does syntax highlighting within Google Docs.
Okay, that's a nice idea. I haven't tried that.
Yeah, that's worked quite well. I've also been using Grammarly which is a plugin that does sort of grammar checking, or spelling and grammar checking, which is quite powerful. And it does limited capability in Google Docs. It's far better than the Google Docs default grammar and spelling, and they have a separate application for writing in, which I've just been copying and pasting and do its analysis, and then either copy and paste back or make the changes manually in the Google Doc, which is a bit painful, but
yeah.
But it wasn't too bad to do. It only took me a few hours to go through, and it spotted a lot of of things that I'm missing commas and words that are redundant and things like that. So that's been good. And then I've had about 3 people read over it now, and everyone's spotted lots of.
Oh no, sure.
So,
I mean, for my more relevant projects, I generally pay money. I mean, not just. I mean, I get some people to get a look and check some of the content, the technical accuracy, but I've always spent a little cash for an editor. Also because English is not my native language, and that, I mean, adds a little extra effort on me. So I don't know. I've used a couple of people I know that they're not expert in programming, but they know enough to do the editing, but they're good at the editing. So again, someone focus on the English, the checking like references within sections. I mean, this is covered later, and then you moved it above. I mean, this type of editorial like overview and consistency in the spelling, or consistency in the capitalization, or consistency in. I mean, they use tools, they use habit, they know how to do it. So again, not sure about the future, but I've generally decided that getting a little money out to someone who can help you out on that was good for me, and to get a slightly higher quality. And same, in the past I paid a graphic designer for my covers. I mean, not a lot of money, but just reasonable amount. And yeah, I mean, it's not a huge difference, but it is something. And if the cover sticks around, because then maybe you do more editions and just add a word or something. Honestly, I think it's a good investment. If you end up paying a few $100s for a good cover, it becomes that's recognizable and visible. And then having some sort of series, so multiple books that have related covers. Again, it's a little cost, but my graphic ability are really, really limited, and I think it was well spent money.
Yes, I have a draft cover, but I'll probably get someone to design something that looks nice and is properly proportioned and that kind of thing. And I've got about halfway through a second book as well, so that'll be it would be good to have some sort of consistency between them. So the first one's Code Faster in Delphi, and the second one is Code Better in Delphi. So
okay.
And I couldn't think of a third book. A guy who sort of proofread a very early draft said, split it into 3, because potentially make more money. And I think targeting. I mean, it's quite good to have quite targeted books on Delphi these days, and there's.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Books on. I mean, there's now books on memory management and performance and design patterns and all sorts of quite specific topics, which I think is a really good sign of the sort of health of the community.
Yeah, because mostly you want to target existing developers, not newbies. Now, I'm editing I've started with an introduction to the Delphi IDE, and I plan also having an introduction to VCL and so forth, which are meant for like new users, although they can also be useful for existing ones who missed quite a gazillion things that were added since Delphi 5 there. Maybe they're still using it. But again, I'm doing it more to help the community and push. Honestly, that's not where you can consider, I mean, making an extra buck on compared to a focus book that is to the current developers and helps them improve their skills and knowledge. So I think it makes sense. Although yeah, I'm doing something that's slightly different, but again, it started because of the 25th anniversary. It's like, hey, let's get some of the old content together. So, but again, that's a slightly different focus. So,
yeah, indeed. I mean, I'll certainly flick through whatever you write, even if it's basic or whatever. But certainly read in detail any more advanced topics. Yeah, I'm going to be hopefully talking with Primož Gabrieljic, I think if I pronounce his name correctly, tomorrow morning, and discuss his books. He's got quite a few now, so.
Oh yeah.
Which is good, and I've just finished his design patterns book, and I think that's definitely worth reading for if you're sort of not a beginner developer, then it's probably relevant. But yeah, are you any books you're reading at the moment?
Well, yeah, non-computer books, but yeah. No, in terms of computer books, not as much at this point in time. I generally keep reading. I mean, when Delphi books get out, I get some of them and read through. I also tend to read general, computer-related books. I mean, either the programming or programming concepts in general, or even more towards organization like Agile or whatever, which are not strictly programming, but more how companies approach their development effort type of things.
Yes.
But right now I'm just reading like other types of non-computer, non-work related books.
Indeed. Yeah, I listened to a lot of audiobooks, so some of them quite a lot of fiction, but some non-fiction and some programming related stuff as well. There's actually quite a few books on Audible now that are programming focused, which is quite good, and they seem to work. So it's not incomprehensible when you listen to them. So yeah. Yeah. Do you have any sort of programming projects you work on, sort of pet projects and things like that?
Yes. Well, only in theory, but not in practice. I have some libraries I worked on in the past that I'm maintaining. I started redoing the engine behind my blog, which the current one is really, really, really old. It runs on Linux and it's actually compiled with Kylix, some of that code. So that shows how old it is. I mean, it's working, but yeah, whatever. The problem is it runs only on very old Linux VMs. So that's the nuisance. But whatever. I got a new one up and running on a cloud system. So sorry, not cloud, but on a virtual machine environment. And so somehow the urgency of needing, hey, I need to get out of it, has disappeared, and so that project has been dragging. But I have like a half-written replacement. That's nice. I mean, it's a nice experiment. So yeah, no, I have a few things floating around, but nothing I'm really putting significant time and effort onto.
Yeah, I've not got a lot of sort of farm projects that need doing at the moment, so I haven't really done any real programming for months and months, apart from writing little example applications for the books. So and new baby, so that's takes a bit of time. Matters. Yeah. But so lots of fence posts to put in and stuff like that at the moment.
Sure. No, I've started doing things that are that do not involve computers in the free time. I think that's healthy. Because, I mean, if you are in front of a computer in your free time and then you're doing your own project, then a mail pops up and then someone pings you on Skype. You know, the company I work for has people working 24 hours a day because they are on all latitudes. And so there's always consistently someone pinging you. And if the computer is off, it's off. I mean, sorry. The phone, you don't really care. Someone Skypes you on the phone unless there's something urgent. So yeah, I've been doing things that are non-computer related, mostly Lego related, but that's quite fun anyway. And I found that, and then I ended up doing some automation, but it's not even with old-fashioned small technological things that doesn't even. I don't know if they count as computer because they're so limited in power and capabilities, but there is some programming still. So, I mean, more block programming type of things. But
okay, yeah, I had lots of Lego as a kid. So I'll probably that'll no doubt come out at some point.
Yeah, sure. Well, that would happen. I started with my son, and then I think he kind of slowed down, and I didn't. So I remain active. So no, it's fun. Again, because you need to get off the. I mean, if your hobby is too close to your work, then the two end up merging into a continuum, which is not healthy in the long run.
Yes. Yeah. No, I want to actually spend more time in front of the computer, but. At the moment, but yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I remember you wrote. So you've done a little bit of mobile development because you wrote that little Lego figurine application.
Yeah. No, I keep doing some development in different areas. I have a few apps on stores. I have other experiments and things I play with. I do write software for. To smoothen some internal management processes and things. Just whenever I have a boring repeating task, I'll write a piece of software for it. That's so much better.
Spend 4 hours writing something that takes 5 minutes to do.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of things like in Jira processing and like using web services and doing operations that are boring in a manual, and I do that so often that it really makes sense to spend a little time automating. And I end up reading more than writing a ton of code. I mean, internal change. I mean, working for a software company, although I'm not strictly in development role, we end up like looking at code like all day long. I mean, very, very often. So that's part of the job. It's fine. I like it, but I do get a lot of exposure. But then it's also nice to have personal side projects that are still useful. I mean, either as a test case or because they're useful for what they do and produce in a way to help my day-to-day activities.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I've been meaning to get some stuff in the App Store, but it keeps falling off the to-do list and sort of immediate, sort of high importance things. But yeah, indeed. So when so you're working on the Object Pascal handbook, was it?
Yeah, I not right now. I mean, what I'd probably start soon. And the last printed edition was for I think Seattle. I mean 10 something probably. Yeah, the original 10 or something. Then I did an update for Berlin, but that was only the PDF. I mean, that version, because there were some change, but not a lot of change. That version never got into. I mean, they got a printed edition because you can. I mean, that's another important thing. if you do a PDF, you can update it every week. For a printed book, it's complex because if you do a new edition, you're also supposed to get a new ISBN because it's a different book, and then you have to retire the old book. So you can churn out like continuous version. There is a release effort like in some of the software and the release effort is significant. So you can really go to continuous deployment easily for a book that is physically printed. I mean, if it's online, fine. You can have a new version every day if you want. But if it's printed, so I never got to that one to print, and then I was waiting. I mean, the Rio version had some nice things here and there, but not that significant new features. Now 10.4 is going to get out with some nice.
Yep, actually
stuff.
wearing a Delphi Rio
Yep.
T-shirt, which is going to be obsolete shortly. But
sure. No, so the new version is getting on with new stuff, and at this point there is enough to justify. And also I have like correction suggestions and other things in general terms. So it justifies a new version, which I plan probably working on this summer sometime. But yeah, at the same time, I'm starting revising the content that I had, mostly from mastering times, but also some of the additional handbooks and other things I did over the XE series, and trying to put that together, which is easier said than done, because you say, yeah, I have this version. Oh, but in this new edition, I added content, but because of room space, I dropped these 3 other pieces that were relevant, and so it's merging like 3-4 different versions of the same book it's a total mess.
Okay.
But honestly, it's kind of sad too. I mean, there is a lot of content there that is still highly valuable, I think, and letting it go because well, whatever, because of the process, because it was bad. So I'm starting with a book on the ID only that's going to come out at 400 pages. Yeah, well, there is a lot of images, but there's also a lot of content.
Yeah.
And then going on. I mean, the language book is there. That's a separate book, so don't repeating it. But then also there's the starting point with VCL and also some web, some other stuff. I mean, eventually the idea is to get everything that I wrote updated enough to make sense. I mean, to match today's version, try all of the demos, update them, clean it up a bit, and republish it. I mean, not writing a lot of new content, but some, but trying to keep the old content alive, which again it's good, but yeah, it is time consuming. Yeah,
indeed. Well, yeah, hopefully you'll find the time, because it's always good to have more books out.
No, some content they actually, if you head to my blog, there are a few chapters have been published. There are PDF,
I have had a look,
download. So yeah, I was hoping to get it moving faster, but now right now I'm quite busy on the work side, so it's going to take a while before I can significantly get back to the book.
Indeed. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, nothing in particular that comes to mind. It's been a very nice conversation. So thanks a lot.
Yes, not too much on the Delphi side. Kind of got sidetracked on the publishing, but that's
if you want, we can spend some time on the Delphi side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was just trying to think. What don't want to go pushing the edges on any NDAs or anything. I'm just trying to think what would be good to talk. Talk about.
Yeah, I mean, overall, we are. Let me put it this way: we are focused on keeping the product healthy. That's kind of probably the summary of our focus. That means try to keep what's in the product in a good shape, and we over the last 2-3 years, but even right now, and for 10.3 and for 10.4, and that's not going to stop. Doing a lot in the Windows/VCL space, because honestly, that remains the key focus for our customers, and it has to be our key focus as well. Despite mobile, which is great, which is growing, which we are adding to, which we are trying to keep up with all of the requirements for the various stores and producers. Yeah, I think we've gone to the point we are a little more ahead than we were a few years back. And now we've got all on the Delphi side, all the 64-bit platforms. So for a little bit, we won't have like another platform shift. I don't see any 128-bit CPUs on the horizon, so we should be good. Yeah, that doesn't mean there's nothing to do. Yeah, Apple keep pushing. Oh, if you want to get to the store, you need this bit and that bit and that requirement. But these are slightly easier to handle than a brand new platform.
There's talk of Apple moving to ARM for their.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see. I mean, and Microsoft is also doing it, but I don't know.
Microsoft have kind of failed at that in the past as well with their. I can't even remember what they were.
They have this new Surface Pro, whatever it's called, Surface X Pro, whatever the name of that, which is ARM and has some emulation capabilities. I'm not convinced this is going to be a huge breakthrough. I mean, people need to run the software they have today on their devices. It's not like mobile where you just click few apps and download them. It's FireDAC, so, and that's probably true even for the Mac. I mean,
there's probably a huge portion of users that just need, for the Windows world, just Windows and Outlook and Word and that kind of thing.
Yeah. If you need
a web browser, but
you can just take a Chromebook. I mean, that doesn't even matter. But what? No, it's true. It's mixed. There are different people with different requirements. But if we look at our customers that do custom software development, running on the largest amount of devices is important, but it's not that you need to run on every single weird solution. Now, if those weird solutions become mainstream, then yes, you'll certainly have to focus. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But I think it's interesting. Intel seems to be in a bit of trouble at the moment with ARM eating away at the low end, and AMD seems to be eating away at the sort of high end and sort of very extreme CPUs, the 128 cores and that kind of thing, 64 core Opterons or whatever they're. No, what are they? Epic, something or other. I have an AMD on the server that I have on a web farm. I don't even. Not that I've seen it. I mean, I just bought it online and it's sitting there and it works. But it was cheaper than the Intel equivalent. Seems to be doing pretty well. So performance-wise, but I'm far from an expert there. But Intel has a bit of trouble, and I can see Apple trying to push people. But I mean, there are things that Apple is great in pushing over and having everyone, buy again on iOS. I think when they push too much on macOS, they get some big pushback. I don't know. For example, they started saying, "Oh, we are going to retire OpenGL," and then the game's vendor said, "Okay, fine, we'll stop supporting you." And so say, "Well, they're not really retire it." Okay. And like even for iOS, at one point they said, "Oh, all applications should run in what they say called multitasking, which means in a window rather than full screen." But Unity doesn't really do it, and Unity means like all of the popular games. Yeah.
So they said, "Oh, we're going to stop you going to the store." Or maybe not. Oh yeah, no, actually we're not doing it. Well, maybe next year, maybe not even next year. So they can push, but they can push to up to a certain level. If they go against like too many software companies and software vendors, because they risk being said, okay, sorry, I mean, we're just focusing on another platform. I mean, if there wasn't Windows or if there wasn't Android, they could say, hey, this is iOS, you have to follow the rules. If they say, hey, the new marvelous game that this big company puts out is Android only, slowly it erodes some of their position. So they can do a lot, but they don't have the luxury of ignoring everyone.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I suppose that they're currently the richest company in the world, aren't they? So
yeah,
Apple is pretty pretty powerful.
No, it is powerful, but they make a lot of money on. I mean, with the 30% they get from all these other companies. So they push in one direction, they get some pushback. A few years back, they would just ignore the pushback. Now they don't. I mean, they have to be realistic. And so there are some directions they can set, but in some cases they need to pull the entire community, but that takes more time. It's not like an overnight. I mean, even the Catalina, I mean, a 64-bit Mac only, there is a fraction of the Mac community that decided, I'm fine, I'm not moving there. I have these 3 applications I'm used that they're not available. Sorry, Apple, I'm staying where I am. So yeah, of course, that's still Macs, still their money. But in the long run, they need to put a little care. I mean, not too much, but a little care. Yeah. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with the macOS platform. That's certainly interesting.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges that have come up with some of these platforms? Because Android changed their permission structure and various other things. It's just how much notice do you get of these changes?
No, we get advance notice. I mean, most of these vendors have public betas. They communicate in advance. The problem, which is actually much worse on Android, is that it's not difficult to support Android 10. It's difficult to support Android 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and people complain, oh, you're not supporting 4. Sorry, I mean, that's like 7 versions ago. And the APIs are different. The permission model is different. The manifest is different, and everything is. I mean, the differences are significant, and the compatibility is not Windows. I mean, Windows. I mean, honestly, in Windows, you can run a good old Windows XP application on Windows 10. And in most cases, at worst case, you have to use a couple of compatibility flags and everything goes. If you run an old Android app on the latest version, nothing works. You don't have permission. Yeah. You're calling deprecated API. So yeah, the application runs, but the store forbids you to publish it because it uses deprecated APIs and this and that. And oh, you have this binary that is illegal. That's more Apple. You have this thing that you can support. I mean, so it's the idea is you keep changing your device, you keep changing your operating system. It works on iOS because everyone is on the latest. So you can kind of ignore everything older and yeah, you're leaving a few people behind, but not too bad. But on Android, where the fragmentation is really bad, I mean, within the first year, you get like 5% of the people on the new OS. On Apple, you get it in the first 5 minutes of the release. I mean, in Google, it takes a year to get 5% of people on the latest. It's so bad that they stopped publishing. I mean, they had this dashboard on the developer page with the versions. I mean, which is using which version from the Play Store data, which is very interesting. They stopped publishing, claiming, yeah, we are refactoring, cleaning up that page. It will get back again soon. That was 6 months ago. Honestly, I think part of it is that they look so bad in that data, and everyone was saying, hey, look at this graph compared to Apple. So they've removed the graph. They haven't fixed the problem. They've removed the graph. I mean, okay.
Yeah. I've still got my Nexus 7 tablet from 2013, and I think that runs Android 5. and that still runs.
Sure, no,
it's got problems, but it still goes.
Yeah, and things work. I mean, it's not that. I mean, but overall, I mean, that's a big challenge. But overall, the focus. Honestly, that is true even for Microsoft. This idea that every year, every 6 months, you need to update your operating system to a new version that adds a ton of new APIs and adds incompatibilities. I don't buy it. I mean, they can add applications to the operating system, which is what the end user would care about. But do we really need a new version of the operating system every year? Do we really need Microsoft to get a new version of Windows every 6 months? I don't think there's zero technical reason. There are a ton of marketing reasons for doing it, but there's zero technical reason. And because they introduce bugs, they introduce things. I mean, we have reports, again, even on Windows, which is generally more stable of a platform. We have reports, hey, this component of yours stopped working on the new release. Yeah, I mean, we didn't touch it. I mean, it's Microsoft that, change something. I mean, up to the point that, I don't know, depending on your DPI configuration, you get Windows messages in a different sequence for Windows creation. I mean, we're not talking about like a minor detail. I mean, the sequence of WM create, WM active, WM show can change depending on some of your configurations. I mean, really? So yeah, but on Windows it is honestly limited. Although we've had hiccups, and we still have hiccups here and there. But on mobile, it's continuous. And the other thing that's true for everyone, it's probably worse for Apple, but for others, is that there was a time where operating system vendors published an SDK and they knew there were multiple companies building development tools. And somehow they had some sort of process or model or ability to talk back, interact. Now the model is, oh, we have the dev tools. It works on our dev tools. Who cares? It's not really ideal as a model. And at times things are really weird. I remember when they did Android 8, the Android 8.0 version, they messed up debugging on device. I mean, yes, they released a version of PDB that didn't have the permission. Their own debugger didn't have the permission.
Yeah, no, I had an HTC 10, and that I think
but they
ended up on 8.0, and I don't think they did an 8.1 release.
On and the 8.1 they fixed it, but for 8.0 they said, yeah, but if you use a Linux-based development, there is a workaround. Really? I mean, so you can only build on Linux for that device? I mean, oh. Well, yeah, they fixed it eventually in 8.1. I mean, but I don't know. And we are seeing this type of thing. That was more visible, but we're seeing many of these things, happening all over. And the reason, it's not about lack of goodwill. It's just that they tend to care about their own tools and not really build platforms that are open and flexible in terms of what developers do with their platforms. That's a little extra hurdle. And then eventually, again, some of these companies, when you reach them and talk to them, they're very open, very friendly. Some of them are not, but that's fine. But yeah, it's been mixed. And in other cases, it's even complex. Let me put it this way: the old guys in this company, those that have more experience, know that there is a concept or a larger ecosystem, and some of the technologies, they understand the technologies to make things open in a proper way. Some of the newer developers seems to have missed some of the past lessons. They don't even understand how their own operating system can be targeted by other tools. I find it weird. So they don't follow. I mean, in practice, what happens, they don't follow the rules they set as a company, and that makes things strange. Anyway,
make things difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, but on all of this, there's no real blocker. It's just a little extra time and effort to figure out things and make things going. And again, it's when we reach out, we can get positive feedback. For example, in this summer, when there was the Google deadline for 32-bit apps, we reached them. They were extremely open. They gave Delphi developers like extra time to move to 64-bit. They did some analysis, and we never got the result of apps on the store built with our tools. They said, yeah, there's enough to be relevant, and so yes, fine, let's work out some exceptions for your guys. So they are open. It's a different world, and of course, yeah, I mean, 25 years ago we were, I mean, a large known company. Well, not large, but known company. Now we are not as visible in the dev space at large. So that's clearly a difference.
There's a lot of applications built with Delphi, a lot of enterprise stuff that's just never going to get rewritten.
That's part of it.
And I think it's a good thing. It's just it's a testament to how stable Delphi's been over the years. And I was working on a project. The back end was written in Delphi, and they were redoing part of it, and they're using all the buzzwords, Kubernetes, and I don't know, all the Docker and that kind of stuff. But the infrastructure was enormous just to replace part of the Delphi aspect of it, and the Delphi code would run on a 2-core VM with 16 gig of RAM and stuff like that, and they have clusters of machines, and I was like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that happens. That happens on the server. I'm more worried when I see that happening on the client side. I would love to be able to ban Electron apps on my machines, because my machine gets really completely overloaded by two types of application. One is Chrome pages. Well, that's browser. It's fine. I mean, for the good or the bad. Some of them are large apps that run in the browser. But the other is this client-side utilities for, I don't know, communication, chat, video, conferencing, editing, smaller things that I find them totally insane. I mean, when I have my chat application that uses more memory than RAD Studio with a large project loaded in it.
This is true, yeah.
It's a chat. I mean, it's like there are 3 images and people talking around. I mean,
it's using RAM.
Why is it taking a gigabyte of RAM? I mean, because there is a browser in it that uses styles, that uses JavaScript. It has Node.js running on the system that caches data from the server. Really? I mean, gosh. I mean, go get Visual C++ and it's like Delphi Visual C++. Yes, I know the development is building a UI is nicer and easier with these tools. But honestly, the entire infrastructure can really get out of control. I mean, when you have like 3 or 4 of these apps running, I mean, your system is completely overloaded by things that, in terms of computation, they do nothing. But that's it. That's the reality. So at least I think Delphi apps have a good chance of surviving in that space, because you can do those things up to some point. I mean, some of the large applications written in Delphi in that type of architecture, they will not technically even run on a machine. I mean, when you have like hundreds of forms, when you have millions of lines of code, I mean, if you convert them to the Electron model or similar, there's not a chance you're going to do it. I mean, unless their technology really, really takes takes a big leap in terms of, it's not just performance, it's really the entire architecture that is odd. And then you end up having 20 copies of Chromium in each of your applications, and things like that are really weird. But that's what's happening. That's a big trend in today's marketplace for Windows. Again, server is not even thinkable, but Windows, it's, I don't know. I think Delphi has a chance to remain active if that's the mainstream alternative that is brought forward.
Yeah, I mean, Delphi applications are fast and efficient.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Particularly, the VCL. It's based on sort of the Win32 API directly, effectively, and you basically can't get any faster.
No, it's difficult.
So, and certainly the advantages, if you're doing like remote desktop and stuff like that, using actual Windows controls makes a big difference to how well your application, the interface gets compressed and sent down the wire. It's quite a big deal. So I think fairly positive about Delphi's future. I was a little bit worried for a while when Idera acquired Embarcadero. There seemed to be lots of staffing changes, and I was a bit concerned. But it seems to be going all right. So
I think we're making through nicely. It's a different company, has a different focus, but the core product is being expanded, extended. There is a lot of focus on quality that comes from the company, and I think that's good. So before we get distracted with the platforms discussion, we're focusing a lot on Windows. We're trying to keep mobile stable. The other thing we're doing is, and then as part of the focus on quality overall, is really starting to go through each of the individual subsystems and see which one we can keep patching, improving, cleaning up, bug fixing, and so forth, and which of these subsystem has got to a point that it makes no sense to keep it alive and has to be, refactor in this case is not the right word. Rewritten is the right word.
This is part of the IDE components.
That's for example the work that's coming along, and I can mention it because it's the roadmap around using language server protocol to redo the entire code inside experience, which is not bad. We kind of invented it, but honestly, it is hitting roadblocks, and then we kept
and changes to the language have not helped.
Of course, but we kept trying to figure out, hey, how we can improve this thing, how we can fix bugs. We kept fixing bugs, but at some point you need really to rethink some of your architectures, and that's happening, and it is a lot of work. So it's really writing something from scratch, but I think it's going to pay off, if not immediately in the first release, but in the medium term. These type of things are going to make a difference, and we're doing that in multiple areas. So we're trying to, because quality is not just fixing bugs. Quality is at times reworking a portion of the product, and I think that's a good thing to do. And that means that we have features to put on our list of things in the new version that makes marketing happy, but these features are really a huge quality improvement. So it's kind of a way to say, we're doing feature work. We have to. We need to sell the product. We need to have arguments. Hey, this new version is better than the old one, not just because of quality. We need to put some names to this quality work, at least. So that I think is a good balance. And
I think fixing error insight would be very nice.
Yeah. Well, that's, again, it's going to take us a while to have everything done and done right, but I'm very happy with what we're doing and how it's going to work. Excellent. So yeah, these are important things. So try to take a new look to some of the core tenets, the redoing some core subsystems, and again, we're doing that on the VCL side. Again, it's going to be part of 10.4, some significant redesign of some of the sections in VCL to make sure that this is going to work nicely, not for the next year, but the next 10 years. So that's kind of the goal, trying to put foundation that will not help us in the coming release, but will help us for a few years.
For the next 10,
the next 10 years. I mean, that's the goal. I mean, a product like this that has 25 years behind, has large, huge applications built with it, a lot of investment from our customers. You can't think in quarter by quarter type of model. You need to think. I mean, yeah, that's important. We need to release stuff. We need to keep the product moving. That's important for the business, but we also need to be able to think medium term and that's
strategically.
Yeah.
Yes. Is it? Yeah. Do you have a particular favorite version of Delphi that you sort of, when it came out, you thought, was quite revolutionary, or?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you have one for some time, but then you get something new that somehow say, well, yeah. I mean, there have been versions that have been up and above the average, partially because they were good, and partially because the following version weren't. So, I mean, if you think about Delphi 7, the reason everyone's got attached to Delphi 7 is that because, I mean, no one even remembers Delphi 8.
Indeed. 2005 was
so shaky that was hard to use. So, I personally, used Delphi 7 for a long time, longer than most other versions, but in retrospective, is it because that was such a great version, or because the following ones weren't as good? It's probably a mix of the two.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Delphi 2007.
Delphi 2007 was certainly a good one, but honestly, I loved so much the language change in 2009, 2010, the generics, other things. Yeah. That were great. However, the implementation wasn't great at the very beginning. So then the following versions had the same features, but with a more stable implementation. So honestly, it's keeping updating continuously is a challenge. I know it is for a lot of our customers, but I tend to think that the latest versions offered something more than the previous one.
I certainly think, each version of Delphi from about 2007 onwards has gotten better. It's always been improving, and I think most people complain, certain versions have been slower than others to start up and that kind of thing. There's, I always try and use the latest version where I can. For whatever projects, but sometimes the third-party components and stuff like that, getting them more coordinated and what have you can be a bit of a nightmare.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's important. But the other thing that we learned from the XC times, the middle of the XC times, I don't know how you want to call it, is that because of it depends on the business model, depends on the big push from mobile that, again, you get a new version of the operating system every year. So the company went to a mood of like a 6-month release cycle. That was really tough on us, and it was really tough on the customers, because honestly, upgrading every 6 months is not logical. Now we are more into, we got back to the yearly cycle, but honestly, at this point, we are on a more than a year cycle. we don't have like a fixed thing, but between 12 and 18 months seems reasonable. If we delay a new major release too much, and there are many things we cannot do in terms of language change, in terms of adding a method to a core class because that breaks DCU compatibility and things like that. So at some point we do need to have a major DCU breaking, incompatible version. But we are trying to get to a pace that is good for us and good for the customers. And so right now we are at something like roughly 16 months or something like that. Again, not set in stone even internally, but that's more or less what's the current thinking, and I think it's good. And with like couple of updates, significant updates, where, for example, you can add a platform like we did in 10.3 in between. So trying to have a slightly better balance than it was during the XE time, where we were going way too fast.
Yeah, those XE numbers were increasing pretty rapidly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Probably a good time for us to stop.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Marco. If people want to get in
Thanks
touch with you or find out about your books, what's the best way for them to do that?
Get to my blog.marcocantù.com. I won't mention the website because it's like 10 years old. It's insane. It's really bad. But the blog is fine. Is up to date. And over email, marco.cantù@embarcadero.com. If something is business related, if it's personal, just gmail.com. It's still marco.cantù. So it's kind of easy to remember.
Okay, excellent. Okay, well, I will end the recording here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.